Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Appreciate you being here as usual. First and foremost, we definitely got some new listeners. I've had some people reach out that have told me that they were some new listeners. So welcome. Welcome to everyone who is a newcomer to I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Very happy to have you here. That being said, if you're new here and you enjoy the podcast, you enjoy what I do with the podcast, and you want to show some support, take a second if you're watching right now to hit the subscribe button. Give me a like on this video. Maybe leave me a couple of kind words in the comments. That goes a long way. If you're listening to the audio, you could find a review opportunity. If you scroll below where you're listening to these episodes on your streaming services, whether it be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can go down there and you could leave a rating that is a star scale. 5 stars, greatly appreciated. And if you haven't done that yet, takes 1 second to get me on there with a couple of kind words and a nice review. Goes a very long way. Thank yous in advance. But we're back for a somewhat of an early episode. We usually drop episodes on Thursdays. This Thursday is obviously Thanksgiving, so I'm sure people aren't going to be, as attentive to a brand new episode. And we got a hell of a part 2 to put out this week. So this week I sit down again with Mikey and Big Bob for part 2 of our fantastic conversation about Stuff-A-Bus, about morning show radio, about how these guys fell into this type of work and kind of just took over. Kiss FM 96.1, the most popular radio station in the city, and they do a hell of a job every year on an event called Stuff-A-Bus, which is coming up and which is, the main focus of why I invited Mikey and Bob into the studio. So Stuff-A-Bus is ran by the Marines Toys for Tots program. It is an event held by Mikey and Big Bob. It is in its 21st year, and it is being held from December 2nd to December 6th up at Robinson Town Center. You could go up there, you could meet Mikey and Bob, you could meet all sorts of different people up there. They really make it an event. You got Marvel people up there, you got different rescue services that bring their trucks up there for a touch a truck night, and you just have an opportunity to go up there and mingle with some of the freak show. And it is December 2nd through December 6th. You could go up there, and they are looking to collect new and unwrapped toys for the Marines Toys for Tots program. And like I said, 21 years in the game. This year is a very special one because they are going to be crossing the threshold of 800 filled school buses. So Stuff-A-Bus, obviously the name of the event, the goal is people bring toys, and they got a couple of school buses there, and they just fill up these school buses as a unit of measurement. And I mean, 791, I believe they're at this year, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And they are, obviously going to cross the 800 number this year. So if anyone is out there, has the means, would like to give back this holiday season, you have an opportunity with Stuff-A-Bus. And that's at Robinson Town Center again, December 2nd through December 6th. All the information is on 96 FM's website. 96 Kiss FM, rather. Sorry about that. Or you can go to Mikey and Big Bob, FS Mikey, FS Big Bob on Instagram, and these guys are posting about it all the time. It is going to be a wonderful time. It is always a big deal. You have people up there that you would hear about on the radio. I left yins on a kind of a cliffhanger last week. I brought up Crazy Italian Guy, Nate the Crazy Italian Guy. And if you're a listener of 96.1, you definitely know who Nate the Crazy Italian Guy is. But we get into a little bit of conversation about him because, originally there was some lore about him. No one knew what he looked like. You only got the yo, dude, that type of voice. But, now Nate is embracing social media. We talk about it. We talk a little bit more about his life, and I'm going to try to get Nate on here. So, Nate, if you're watching, let's talk. Let's make something happen. But just want to say thanks again to Mikey and Big Bob for all that they do for the city, all that they've done for me. They did a really, really nice radio spot for me on their show on the 96.1 Kiss FM Morning Freak Show. Someone texted me and was like, yo, dude, Mikey and Bob just talked about you on the radio. And I expected them, whenever I heard that, I thought that they would maybe be like, hey, yo, we did a podcast. You could listen to it. But these guys went out of their way to give me a 4-minute ad read on their show. And I just, it was a big moment for me. Very thankful for anyone that supports the podcast that I do. So with that, I'm going to leave you with part 2 of the highly anticipated Mikey and Big Bob episode. Hopefully I see you up at Stuff-A-Bus December 2nd through December 6th for a good cause, donating new and unwrapped toys for the Marine Toys for Tots. So without further ado, episode 293, part 2 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Mikey and Bob.
Telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Yeah, you constantly have taglines being added from, a whole listener base.
Like the show never ends, really.
And a lot of those people that consistently leave messages on our show, they've become characters on our show without even knowing it. And then we have people who will send messages and be like, hey, we haven't heard from, are they doing okay? And it's great, man. I don't know.
One of the newer things over the past few years that definitely was wild to me was seeing the crazy Italian guy.
Yeah, in real life.
Seeing what he looks like, and didn't his mom make ends food last year or whatever?
Dude, she is the best.
So seeing that, it was almost like seeing Wilson's face in Home Improvement. I was like, is that really that guy? And then he goes off.
Those first years of him on our show, he would never let us take any photos of him.
Is that really what it was? Did you meet him long ago?
Yeah. We met him within the first couple weeks of him calling our show because we thought he was fake. We're like, this is some guy.
What year do you think that was?
Probably, 2024 now. We probably met Nate, the crazy Italian guy, in
2012, 14,
that's
something like that.
Insane.
Yeah, it's probably that long ago.
That's insane.
But we met him at a tattoo shop. That's where we went the first day when we met him.
We met him.
He was getting no fair weatherness tattooed across his back because that's what he would always call and yell at our show.
That's a true story.
Yeah. He has it tatted across his back. That's the first time we
met him.
My goodness. And he just didn't want photos taken. He didn't want people to know before.
Not at all.
He didn't want his face. He didn't have an iPhone until I think 2 years ago.
That's unreal.
He's really late to technology.
I love it.
Never been on vacation outside of Pittsburgh.
Really?
He's never left Pittsburgh.
I got to get him on here.
I think he went to Myrtle Beach when he was younger.
Typical.
He's never left this city.
Either Myrtle or Ocean City for sure.
And we're just like, dude, you got to just unwind and go on vacation. And he says something like,
dude, the city will fall apart.
He's like, dude, city needs me. Seriously, you should have.
Batman or something.
Dude, we thought it was a character he was doing when he was first calling. Even, forever, we thought it was a character leading up to when we first met him there in the first, month or two that we known him. And legit, real deal, loud. Even around his family, we've gone to his house. His mom, like you said, made us dinner.
That's unreal.
Loud, just out of control at all times. That's just him.
Yeah,
that
there was one time
good.
I was walking downtown with a friend and a couple of his kids, and they know the show and they listen to the show and stuff like that. And Nate, the crazy Italian guy, was downtown. I didn't know he was downtown. We hear him from across the street.
Yo, dude.
And he's just, he wasn't even yelling at us. He didn't even see me or anything. And one of the kids, I was just like, is that crazy Italian guy? Sure enough. So I'm like, hey, He just
1,000,000% you could tell his voice through anyone.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
He's still
how did you guys?
He still valets cars down in Market Square, and people will see him.
I saw him. Yeah, that's where I saw him. I think it was
Market Square.
I think it might have been Light Up Night or something.
Yeah,
we were down there, and I was like, and the only reason I knew is because I saw a picture you guys posted. So how did you guys get that? How did you convince him to do that?
I think he just kind of saw how we use social media and how it sort of.
He started getting curious about it.
Yeah. Well,
Dude, do you think I should make one of those tweeters?
Dude, I love it.
But he calls money scoots. Right?
Scoots.
Yeah, got to get scoots. I'm getting scoots. So he's like, dude, people making scoots off this social media, dude. There's YouTubers. They're making like scoots off this. Like it was a whole like making money online.
A whole conversation with them. Yeah.
Mind blowing to him.
Yeah, but it was funny because like this just past Halloween, he was by man, I can't remember where the place was, but it was like a laser like tag place. It's got a whole bunch of other stuff, and they had like a 20-30 foot Michael Myers like big inflatable outside their business.
Yeah.
So Nate, crazy Italian guy who calls our show and stuff,
Loves horror movies. Loves
horror
Halloween movies.
Oh wow.
absolutely loves it. The weird stuff too, like
Foreign
I love that.
the German stuff. That
Hell yeah.
like yeah,
stuff that's banned in the U.S.
Wow.
You want to have a horror movie talk with him? All day,
He's ready
man.
for it.
He is so ready for it. Like, but he's outside of this place with this big inflatable Michael Myers, and he's got his buddy who's taking a video of him, and he's like, yelling. He's like, Dad, Michael Myers and Steelers are gonna kick ass this week and stuff like that. The owners of the place come out to see what's happening, and they're like, no way. Crazy Italian guy.
Holy shit.
So they gave him a few scoots to come in their business and like do a little video for him and stuff
Dude,
like that.
that is
It's
the
wild.
best.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy.
That makes me and Bob so happy knowing that this guy was just a guy that called our show because he listened to us, thought we were funny, and now like he can go out places and people as soon as he opens his voice know exactly who he
Dude, the
is.
best thing
yeah.
about him too is he's a movie encyclopedia.
He's real into
It's
it.
the most bizarre thing. You can tell him a year, and he'll tell you like best picture, best actor.
Holy shit.
Without looking it up, nothing, just like off top. Like it's wild.
He'd
Wow.
be a really interesting dude to have on.
That's
here.
good to
It's
know.
like his super skill.
It's wild because Pittsburgh like kind of conjures up these characters and like
Yeah.
people slide in like obviously we talked about it last time. Eileen from Blawnox, you guys had a character like she just is still gone, right? You guys haven't
she
heard
hasn't
from her?
talked to us
Yeah,
now.
she used to call us all the time.
I remember because whenever that's how I left everyone hanging on the first episode. I was like, "What happened to Eileen?" And you're like, "She just
man.
stopped calling
Yeah,
one day."
that was it,
It's
man.
like
People
you've
still
had
see
these-
her though. I mean, people still send us pictures of her walking around. Like
Oh, really?
Blawnox area. Yeah.
Bless her heart. Hope she's doing well.
But like everybody, like every city, every area has like characters and stuff, that have people that are like naturally funny. Like I think, and why we gravitate to those people is because I don't think me and Bob ever came from a place of like comedy.
Yeah.
Like we never grew up wanting to do stand-up comedy. Still have never done it. Seems terrifying. We've never like written for like anything or TV shows. We never even wanted to be in radio. It just seemed easy and fun.
Yeah.
Like we weren't kids growing up just like we're gonna do our own show one day.
What'd you think kids were gonna be?
I was going to school. Well, I mean, going to school. We have 3 college semesters between the both of us.
I went one semester.
I was going. I thought I could be a good elementary like school teacher, so
Yeah.
I was just going to be a teacher. I didn't really.
That's what I did. Elementary ed and special ed.
Mike would have nailed it too. Like he would have been awesome. He would have been a great teacher.
What about you?
I had no plan at all, dude. I was working in a check printing factory before we went to like a trade school almost, like for radio TV.
Yeah.
Like it was an 8-month program.
Really?
Yeah. They had one in Michigan where we grew up.
What was that called?
Specs Howard.
Specs Howard School.
Specs Howard School, and it was broadcasting.
It was a broadcasting
Yeah,
school,
yeah.
but you would
Wow.
like do TV stuff.
That's
Man.
pretty cool.
So there is probably a video exists of me and Bob, like fresh out of high school, like
Trying to
read news reports.
read news because they had to do like everything like sports news.
Dude.
You had to do TV side and learn all that side, and then they had to do like a radio side. And we got an internship through that and into the radio and stuff like that. But like before I even went to Specs Howard, I went to 1 semester of community college, and then I went and worked in a check printing like factory.
Just making a buck.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Like it was just long ass days standing at like a printing press that was printing people's paychecks. Like it just went on and on. It was never ending days.
But that was when you like made your first like adult money where you're just like, I might be able to move out of my parents' house. Like you were working your ass off.
Yeah, I was working like full time and miserable with it, you know.
Yeah.
So
This is it. This is an adult.
You were like a 55-year-old like man, but like you were 20.
I was the youngest person working there.
Hated everything. I hate this job.
Like everybody drawing smoke breaks, and it'd be like the 65-year-old lady in the office and like the 52-year-old dude that works next to me at the printer, and I'd be standing there just like, all right,
yeah,
cool.
It's the people that are usually there for that long. They're the ones that kind of make you realize. I worked at a machine shop. I went to Slippery Rock for elementary ed, special ed. Just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
Ended up failing out of there and just worked at a machine shop, getting paid nothing, just busting your ass. And it's the old people that were there forever, you know, looking like, you know, lost souls in this building. They're like, you literally telling me like, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like before, like I'm a janitor cleaning up adults' chew spits and shit off of toilets, and these old guys are like, you got to get out of here or you'll be here forever. That's literally the only reason I went back to school for it. But I mean, you gotta figure it out when you're young. I mean, like, think about how stupid you were whenever, like,
dude, I had no direction. Yeah,
I know. I have no direction back then at all.
I hated
it's crazy.
school. Like I said, I hated homework, and now I'm doing homework for the show like every day.
And you know what's funny too is like you always. Like it seems
I didn't
like
hate school. Like the school wasn't the problem. It was I was lazy to do the work, I guess.
Yeah,
like, looking back,
didn't
on
apply
it.
yourself.
No, I did not apply myself ever.
but like the path to get you out of the machine shop into like what you're doing now and like this podcast that you've had like every super yinzer on since then, like it doesn't just happen. Like you have to say to yourself, like, I'm going to do something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna make, you know, whatever,
Fully commit to it.
my little corner of the world a better place. Even if you have a shitty job that you don't like going to every day, like you have to. And this is one thing I tell my daughter all the time, because me and Bob got lucky. Like we started doing a morning show in the city of Pittsburgh, which is, you know, a top 30 market. You know, it's a pretty big city in the United States. When I was 21 and Bob was 22, it's like unheard of. Like it's the age we're at now. This is when we should be starting a morning show, like in a market like this. And it's, you know, we should have paid our dues for like 2 decades, and we just got thrown sort of into the fire. But I always tell my daughter, I'm like, you have to find something you love, and you have to figure out how to get paid for it.
Yeah,
because it's such a cliche thing. Oh, you never work a day in your life. Unless you hit the lotto or you come from money, you're gonna work.
Yeah.
You just got to make it fun, and that's what me and Bob do every day.
Like that's how it was when we got our internship. Basically, like we literally got the internship, and then we're just like, we're not leaving this place. Like we will work 20 hours a day to learn everything, because this is our way to this some type of career.
To not necessarily punch a clock.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
How do you? I mean, like, do any of your kids like want to follow your footsteps?
No.
No, not really. Yeah, no.
That's. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, if you have a parent that's like one of the figures in the city, you know, I could see both sides of it all, of wanting to kind of go towards that or wanting to.
Like my daughter's a senior in high school, and I feel like she's changed what she's wanted to be, which is the same thing that every kid does, like 15 times already. You know, like,
for sure. Especially nowadays with a phone, you know, having like the accessibility to see, you know, different possibilities. Back then in school, even you guys being older, I'm sure that it was like, you know, you guys, if you do not succeed, you're going to be flipping burgers or being a trash man or some shit. And that was always such like a negative connotation to that. But now it's like different, you know, people are, you know, earning a great living, you know, doing trash.
Right,
you know, and it's going to be just fine for them.
Yes.
Yeah. If I could, you know, even just like college isn't for everybody. And, you know, me and Bob are prime examples. Like we didn't, you know, we weren't garbage men or anything like that. But like, we had some pretty crappy jobs before we said, we're going to focus on one thing and we're going to go for this thing, you know? But,
dude, that's the funniest thing. Like when people ask us to like come in and speak to kids or a college class or something like that. And we're like, I'm not sure we're really those guys that, you know, we've had a good path and a long run here and are pretty successful at what we do, but like we didn't have that schooling plan that worked out that way. We just kind of got in and hustled and, you know, did what we needed to do.
Our college speech would be like, hey, college isn't for everybody.
Right.
And whether, like you said, you're just like if you have a skill, if you know like a trade or something like that, like you said, garbage man or something like that, or, you know, you're a person who's working construction, things like that. Like, heck yeah, man, go to a trade school, figure that out. If you like doing that, you like working outside, like if that doesn't seem like work to you, because that's the kind of person you are, and like, that's awesome. Like,
yeah, that's really what it comes down to, is like, you can't just hate what you're doing every day.
Well, you can make a lot of money doing a lot of things now.
And the other thing is, now, I would watch a live stream of somebody who rides the back of a garbage truck.
Oh, yeah.
I would. Like, yo, put that on Instagram
That's
right
some
now.
of my shit that's on TikTok.
Dude, what were we watching the other? We were watching.
watch
Our buddy Brian owns the pavement group, and he put out a video of like line paving in a parking lot, right? Mesmerized.
I know, it's ridiculous. My guy that comes up on my TikTok, he's from somewhere, got to be like, you know, Ukraine or some shit. This guy just retreads tires.
Oh,
so you got a bald tire,
Nice.
and this
I've seen
dude
that
doesn't
before.
talk or
Oh,
nothing.
that's nice,
Doesn't
yeah.
talk or nothing. It's loud as shit, and
Yeah.
he'll just look back every once in a while, and then just keeps doing it. And there'll be thousands of people watching it.
He probably makes so much, too.
I mean, and there's really no explanation to who gets put in the spotlight. Like, look at Joe Long.
Yeah,
you know, Joe Long was in here yesterday, and that guy had no idea of what was going to happen with just him trying to make funny videos. And it's wild. But, you know, it's cool that you guys have a job that, you know, lets you kind of you know, keep your thumb on the pulse of like what's happening in today's world and in the city, and kind of work that into what you're doing, and ultimately just trying to be funny, you know, like trying to make a laugh, and, you know, kind of
Trying is the best way to describe it. Trying.
There's plenty of bad in the world.
Yeah.
And like, we don't need to contribute to that.
Yeah.
So like, we know a lot of people just come to us as the funny escape, and it took us a while to figure out our role like that. Like, there were times where I was just like, no, people care what we want to say about this, and this, and we should talk about this. And then it's like, man, at the end of the day, people are coming to us as an escape for a lot of bad things. So
there's plenty of places to consume just doom scroll shit.
Yeah.
You know?
How's your mentality, like, how do you think about it as far as like, you know, you guys are obviously a news source to some extent, and whether it be funny or just like silly, you know, how do you guys like touch on the important things? Like, obviously today we are recording, and it was the day that Trump was announced as, you know, winning the presidency, but like, you guys are on the radio every day. You know, how do you kind of navigate through, you know, the serious shit that's happening in today's world, to like still keeping it your light and funny, and offering the positive and the silly into this, you know, day like we have today?
It's sort of a tightrope, but like,
It's more just being real, though, like we kind of talked about, you know.
Yeah, like everybody's sort of going through the same thing. Like, half the country's mad, half the country's like happy. Like, no matter who wins any election, that seems like how it's going to be. And we understand that too. We understand there's people who like this candidate or that candidate, and this party and that party, who believes in this, who believes in that. And like, we'll definitely mention that stuff. We'll tell people like where they can vote, like how they, all that stuff, like basic information and stuff. And then like,
then a drunk guy ends up on a merry-go-round, you know, like trying to make it make sense. But
Easy to break you out of that serious nature.
So we could be being like, do you want to know who won the House of Representatives, or naked guy on
as I was driving to work this morning, you know, I was listening to it because I knew that we were going to be talking today, and I knew that some shit was going to happen, and you guys were going to have to talk about it on the radio. So I'm listening in the morning, and I like the way that you guys navigated it, where, you know, obviously people coming to listen to you aren't, I mean, I would assume are not people that are looking for hard-hitting news.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
You know, the freak shows is not the place to get hard-hitting news.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know how you guys navigate stuff like that, and you basically were just playing fart stairwell videos. And like you said, you address it, you talk about it. There's half people that you know that are happy, half people you know that are not happy.
Yeah.
And rather, you know, harp on all this shit that ultimately you can't really do nothing about.
Yeah.
You choose to be an outlet for people to, like, you know, just enjoy it, and, you know, kind of get their mind off of the seriousness, because God knows we all got enough phone calls and text messages about it the last, you know, month.
Yeah. Well, I think that just goes back to being real and stuff like that, not necessarily talking about the politics and the policies and everything, but making, this morning on the show, because the political ads just stop. So then this morning on the show, I was just like, I saw that one commercial where that lady's dancing and singing about, I take once daily Jardians. And I'm like, yo, I haven't seen the Jardians lady in a while. She's dancing. I'm like, Jardians lady.
At one point, I don't know if it was live on the show or we were playing a song, but we looked up the TV and we were like, Edgar Snyder, point at me.
Back to business as usual with Edgar.
Yeah, but it's like a fine line to walk, because there's people who that just becomes what consumes them.
Yeah.
And you either have to make a choice of, and I get that people obviously care about their politics and things like that.
Yeah.
And they have the things that they believe in and stuff. And of course, we'll even share that stuff too, supporting the LGBTQ plus community and trans people and things like that. And we talk openly about that stuff. And, you can see by which candidate says which things, sort of,
where you guys are going,
where we lean, but we don't harp on it. We don't really preach to people about it, because we know at the end of the day, people are coming to us
for something else.
an escape from a lot of that stuff. And it took us a while, I think, to realize that.
So is this a personal choice? If you chose to be a political person that, that was your hill to die on, I mean, do you guys have the option to do that? Is your content that you are putting out there, I mean, is that your choice?
I mean, my genuine self is just, I'm not a person who doom scroll. Well, everybody doom scrolls, but I don't dive deep into politics.
Yeah. But if you guys wanted to make your radio show more political, is that a choice that you guys can make it? Or is it an overseer that kind of lets you know? Because, I mean, back then we were talking about
somebody controlling our content that we do on the air now.
Yeah. Are people allowed to tell you, you guys are allowed to talk about this, you guys aren't talking about this? Is that something that you guys deal with?
Doesn't happen.
At this point. No.
That's good. I wouldn't think so. I just didn't really know.
I can't even remember the last time we talked to our boss about our show content.
We still have bosses like everybody else, but they let us just do our thing. There's no controlling content.
I think people in a big corporation we work for, like iHeart, they just see that there's this weird thing that's been happening in Pittsburgh for 20 years, and they just sort of leave it alone.
Something beautiful and weird. Let it go.
It's you can't.
They
really
don't understand it.
Yeah, but it just sort of happens. But we control the content on our show. We sort of talk about what we want to talk about, what we don't want to talk about, how we want to talk about things. All of that is basically up to us. Yeah, but. You were asking, do we want to ever get more political on the show? And for what we do, I think we do enough of just covering things. We're not going to be a political show, because I'm not in that space every day. I can't tell you what is exactly going on with negotiations in the Middle East and things like that. So,
dude, for me, that's just such a miserable space to be in.
I know.
For sure, man.
I'm occupying my mind somewhere else.
These dudes that do these political talk shows and even social media, and it's all politics. I couldn't even fathom the world you have to be in to even
doesn't
process
matter
and deliver
side
that.
Or even who. It's just
I don't know.
Who wants to talk about that all
I don't
day?
know, dude. I don't know. But there's people that do it.
I know.
And it fucking sells, and that's crazy to think about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that obviously what you guys are doing is definitely the right shit to do. Now, I mean, let me ask you, you guys have been doing this 21 years. I mean, do you have goals?
I mean, such a great question. What's funny is
I just headbutted the microphone. Sorry.
It's so funny to be asking people like us that have been doing this for so long, what's your goals? It's yeah.
It's kind of living them, right?
We've never, I don't think you either, Bob. I've never been really a goal-oriented person, and I know that sounds bad because life is about setting the next goal for yourself, but I say this dumb story all the time. My goal when I was in high school is to have a job that I loved going to every day, and I made enough money to have a ranch house and drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee. That's all I wanted. Simple life, little house. That's it. That's all I wanted. And I probably could have done all that when I was...
No Grand Cherokee yet.
No, but... if I want my next car to be a Jeep Grand Cherokee, I'll make it a Jeep Grand Cherokee. But like, I think we got to that point when we were like in our young 20s, like 22, 23 years old, where we had a house and, I
think at this point our goal is just legacy, man. Maintain. Like when people think about us, like in the future, if they ever do, if we're not here one day, like they'll just think like those dudes were good dudes that always looked out for Pittsburgh. Like almost like I'm not going to put ourselves on the Mr. Rogers level, but like,
no, you're in the same realm though. For sure.
Not even close. But like,
we just don't want I think we are.
You don't want to be remembered as a shitbag.
Yeah.
You know? We don't want to have people like to think negatively about us. I want people to remember the laughs we brought them, the good things we brought them. I want people to remember stuff about us. I want people to remember, sort of those things.
The positive. I had Rachel Mbovier in here, and she said that, basically what she does is just so hopefully someone will remember her in a positive way.
That's what it is.
That's what her
life,
legacy
man.
is. That's what I asked her. I said, what is your goal? And her goal is just to be remembered in a positive way and spread positivity to the world.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Simple as that, right?
It doesn't matter what you're getting paid to do, even if you're doing it outside of what you're getting paid to do. If your goal in your work is to just make people happy, like, man, just do it.
Do it and do it good.
Do it, man.
I mean, I'd also like a Kelsey Brothers deal that we could sell our podcast for like $100 million or something. I mean, I'm not going to turn that down, but like,
we couldn't trust you with that money.
That would be a good one. I saw he was just over here at the Robinson Market District, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
They own like a beer
Jason
brand
Kelsey
now and everything too.
Yeah,
the beer brand. That's what it was for.
Yeah, we'll eventually get our own beer brand and stuff like
all
that.
Put that on the goal list.
Everything.
You guys big
branded
drinkers?
Mikey Bob. No. Used to be. Yeah,
Used
probably.
to be.
I think during the pandemic, I was probably hitting the booze cups a little bit too hard.
Everybody, I feel like.
There's not much to do. Yeah, but no, I'm not really a drinker. Like maybe I'll have a drink if I go out like one place, but no, I don't really.
You're not like a patron of all these incredible breweries we have around here.
Not really. Not a huge drinker.
I respect it all.
I respect it.
It's
all. Cool.
Yeah. It's awesome what we have here.
Yeah,
it really does. And I had enough people that were asking me about why I haven't had any of these breweries on, where I like put myself into a crash course of just trying a bunch of different beers so I could have somewhat of an educated conversation.
I feel like that world's a whole deep world too, that you got to know your shit. Or
it's even crazier than you could imagine. But it's always welcoming. All these people are always welcoming. Now, okay, so I mean, you think there's anything that I didn't touch on that you guys still wanted to touch on before we get to the ending segment?
Oh man, there's an ending. Oh boy, ending.
I know. You guys,
I'm nervous.
We're throwing you through the ringer. What a tease.
Man.
Okay, so the ending segment that I do with everyone is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions. Like that? Yeah. Now, we did this 5 years ago. I don't remember any of it. Obviously, there's two people here, so the goal behind this is to not put too much thought into it, just whatever shoots in your mind.
Yeah.
So, Desert Island Questions, whenever I give each cast 3 categories to take with them on a desert island and use until they starve to death and die. First category is movies. So, if you have it at the top of your mind, some movies that you would take to watch over and over and over
Dirty
again.
Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Incredible.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Roadhouse.
Wow.
Goonies.
Okay.
Wow.
Have I done
good.
Too many?
That's 3.
Field of Dreams.
That's good. Field of Dreams.
I love Field of Dreams, man. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good variety that just popped in through there.
Yeah.
What are you guys watching? Are you big TV or movie people now? Like, is there anything you're watching now?
I'm watching the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
But like my memory is so shitty that I watched the first season and the second season just came out. I
don't remember it?
No clue. Dude, I just watched it like a year and a half. No clue any of the characters. So I had to go back and rewatch season 1
to pick up on everything.
To pick up season 2. Like I watched the intro part where it's like, oh, here's what happened last season. I'm like, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, probably the most serious thing that I watch is Only Murders in the Building.
That's with Steve Martin, right?
Yeah.
Selena Gomez, Martin Short. Yeah, it's a good show.
Okay.
Only other thing I watch is like Bravo shows and like trash TV, 90 Day Fiance, 1,000 Pound Sisters.
You know, I never understood why, you know, my mother would come home. She worked a lot of years at PNC as like one of the big dogs there. And she would come home and she would put on some garbage like The Bachelor, things like that. And I never understood why.
Background, dude. It's just the background show that you can
turn your brain off a little bit.
Half-ass pay attention to.
See. Are you guys a Love is Blind? You know, do you watch any of that?
You know,
I heard there's a Pittsburgh guy on there, right?
This dude never watches any of the trash TV that I do, and then he watched Love is Blind, and it's all I heard about.
Just season 6. That was the only season I watched.
The new season, right?
Because I think enough people were watching it. I'm like, let me check this out.
Is season 6 the one with Megan Fox, Chelsea?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a car crash. You get FOMO by how much you're missing out on.
It's crazy because I'm never the kind of guy who gets sucked into the reality shows. And, you know, I mean, like when American Idol first came out and everything.
It's not even the same anymore.
Like, no,
they don't even play good auditions anymore even.
But like, that season just sucked me in. And then when season 7 came out, like, dude, I was watching the reunions with the day. Like, I knew the day they would come out, the time they would come out, because I was like, yo, I gotta get out. I gotta get on the internet and see these reactions.
That one bit me too.
Mike's devastated. People broke up.
But then, like, I know myself, and I know that I get hooked on things real easy. So I told myself when Love is Blind season 7 came out, I said, nope.
You cut it off cold turkey.
I did, dude. I had to, because I'm like, I'm going to get hooked on this damn season. I'm going to care about
I could
these
be watching
people.
other things that are going to be adding more to my
wasn't
life.
it trying to feed you like Love is Blind Brazil or something like that?
I got that too.
Once I watched the first season, I realized Love is Blind is not a specifically United States thing. It was like Brazil.
Like, this was successful. Let's squeeze every penny out of it.
Well, everybody just creates their own universes now. There's like the 90 Day Fiance universe, because people get so hooked in those like
shows,
spaces, that the people behind them realize like we can build a whole thing
for sure
where people will only watch this show, only care about these people. And, you know, I mean, to an extent, that's what we hoped we've built here in Pittsburgh over the last 2 decades. It's just something kind of fun that people can go to, get their mind off things, and just, you know, sort of.
So you guys would consider yourself the trash TV of radio?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good comparison.
That's
really
sure,
good.
Man.
That's a good comparison.
That's
a fair one.
Fart noises still make me laugh. We're trash.
That's a good one.
Sure, we are.
I like that.
We are trash.
All right, second category. I'm curious, just one if you have it. Do you have a favorite book? I know you're a reader.
Favorite book?
I'm out.
Wow.
Not a reader?
Yeah, favorite book.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, I started reading. I can't believe
I started reading.
So it started about kindergarten for me. I started learning these letters and how to put it together and read. Like,
dude, my wife does books on like
audio tape or whatever, or audio.
I don't know what the app's called. I forget what it's called. But
Audible.
She'll blow through like 50 books a year, and I'm just like, how do you do that? I'd rather listen. Just about anything else.
I was never really a reader, and last year in June I had to go on a work trip, picked up a book, and I just haven't stopped since. It's the most I've ever read. I'm on my 22nd book this year.
Damn, dude.
And I don't know. I never cared about it before.
Yeah.
It's a way for me to, like how people were watching, Bravo shows. It's like, it's just a way for me to turn my brain off.
Dude, that's what happened to me, because I got these glasses not too long ago, and I was having real bad migraines and concussion issues and stuff like that. And reading like would give me a migraine. So I would like not read books. I wouldn't read for fun. I would just read if I had to read something.
Yeah.
And then I got these glasses that sort of fixed this condition I had going. And I was just blowing through books because I wasn't reading and I was just blowing through. But so when you say like, what's your favorite book? Like, man, I don't know, because I haven't read like for a good portion of my life, like for enjoyment.
Yeah.
But man, 3-book series, the Thrawn trilogy, Star Wars, dude, I'm a big Star Wars guy.
Throng?
Thrawn with an N at the end.
Okay.
Thong.
I was reading about there's this picture book that I bought that's all the Star Wars characters, but they're drawn in thongs. Okay,
wow, that would sell for sure.
Yeah,
Yoda all cheeked up.
It's weird because
I'm Yoda.
But
Yoda all cheeked up.
Thick Yoda that can make it clap.
Oh my god!
But no, I think the first couple books that I read once I got my glasses, I was reading to read again, and then I'm just like, like you, where you're just like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You have to put your phone down. You have to be like reading the words.
100%.
Then I was just like, give me some Star Wars books. Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
What
We're
are
in
you
that
reading?
world.
Like, what is it?
I read honestly nothing of
Sexy
necessarily
stuff?
No, not any of the Iron Flames, not any of the elf smut.
That's what he was like. It's just like
I have
all
so
romance novels.
I have
the trashier, the
FOMO
better.
of the Iron Flame books
Yeah.
because, like, you know, you see everyone reading it, everyone from the Watts to you know other people, and they're like, "This is great." So I have FOMO because I know that they're, you know, it's almost like hearing about I've still never seen Game of Thrones, and it's the closest I've ever been to watching it because
I'm
of
with
how
you.
much people talk about it, but I just can't do it. I've been reading a lot of Stephen King. I just never read his shit before, but I've been a horror movie guy for a long time, so I've just been crossing that stuff off. You know, just
Books better than movies?
yeah, for sure. Read Jaws, the book Jaws by Peter. I think his name is Peter Blatley, but it's like, you know, obviously that book is. It's not as good as Jaws. There's some weird shit in the book. There's mafia, you know. There's
This wasn't in the movie. What's
way
going on?
weird shit, but
Jaws book.
it's cool to read these books and then, like, you know, go back and rewatch it, like Pet Cemetery and like Salem's Lot and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm in a spooky vibe. But now Christmas is coming. I'm gonna start moving. I'm gonna start changing.
Reading some sexy holiday books.
I want elf smut. I want the elf smut now. I want a
Mrs.
big burly
Claus.
Christmas tree guy going.
After
And
dark.
I'm gonna come cut down your tree. That's good. Okay, third category: CDs. You got a couple favorite CDs that like the CDs? Yeah,
Like legit old CDs I still have
like
hanging
more
out.
I don't own any more
like more
CDs.
of an album.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you have any like albums that were like classics for you guys, like growing up, that stick out, that were just like, you know, that were always something that you were spinning?
Dude, I'm trying to think of what we.
Some 1999 Eternal.
Yes, absolutely.
dude.
But like almost every day in the studio after the show's over, and we're just like, I'm editing podcasts, Mike's doing like clips for the show and stuff. Like, we'll just put on music, like music we grew up with and whatever.
Love that.
Yeah.
You guys were big
Bone.
hip hop heads back then.
Huge. Yeah. We used to wait in line for all the big hip hop shows that would like come to Detroit, like Hard Knock Life Tour with Jay-Z and
Holy
DMX,
shit.
dude.
That was probably crazy.
We used to go to, like, I remember we went to the Cash Money Rough Riders tour and stuff like that, dude. We
My
used to
God.
love like Cash Money,
Up
No
and Smoke
Limit.
tour.
Yeah, Snoop, Dre, Eminem, like,
What do you think the best concert you've ever been to was?
wow. I mean,
It's so hard to compare like those
I know.
old ones to like what they're doing now, like
I
the
know.
production of it. Like we went to the Taylor Swift show; it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever.
That was the
been
one in
part of.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift Eras Tour is like,
It's a different level.
people can
crazy.
say what they want about Taylor
Like-
Swift, but nobody goes to that show and doesn't leave without like understanding
Yeah, like I'm,
hype of it.
I'm not a Swiftie, you know. I'm not a big fan, but
Yeah.
I would absolutely go see the show.
It's
you know,
cr-
I'm not. I don't
it's
listen to Ed
crazy.
It's an
Sheeran every
experience.
single day, but
Dude,
my
Ed
wife
Sheeran
bought.
live is
He's great.
It
insane.
was absolutely sensational.
yes.
And like those two people, like Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran,
Yeah.
two of the nicest like celebrities that we've ever met.
Oh,
Like,
I bet.
Before Ed reached his level of Ed that he's at now,
Yeah.
like where he can play the stadium and whatever.
Yeah, you got to be Caliente Pizza to get to Ed now.
Dude, the last time I saw Ed Sheeran was at a Caliente Pizza.
Well, that's why I said that. The one in the Sharpsburg,
right.
people were like, I used to live right next door to there.
Yeah,
at the Sharp Edge Tavern, and people were
Big
like,
day.
Ed Sheeran is there, and I was like, what? That can't be right. And then I
real.
see all these pictures.
Yeah.
But like before he was that level of Ed, like he would just come into the studio and like hang out and play music. Like
Yeah.
every time the radio, whoever would take him on tour, like, you know, he'd be the opening act and playing to nobody in a crowd someplace. And
Yeah.
he'd stop by the station and like play. So there's been plenty of moments where it's just Ed Sheeran with his guitar sitting at
Hell yeah.
a little table at the old station or old studio. Which
Love
is
that.
Just a wild thought to what it is now.
Yeah, weird to see where it grows. I mean, I remember, you know, listening to like, I remember seeing Paramore in a gymnasium in New Jersey, and now they're like, you know, one of the biggest acts in the
huge.
world. Same thing with like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
Wild to think of that.
Yeah.
all
but-
those sort of bands from around that time that you just grew up
Bring
with.
Me the
and stuff.
Horizon is played at Penguin Games now, and back then in high school they had the worst, most vulgar lyrics that you'll ever hear, and you couldn't understand it because it was all just like, it was wild.
Yeah. That's
to
funny
think
though,
that they're
because
there now.
like growing up and like we both have teenagers now, and like I mean, growing up, like my parents took away my Dr. Dre Chronic CD when I was growing up because they didn't like the lyrics, and now I go back and listen to that, and I go, all right, good call,
good
Mom and Dad. You know, like I was always like, hey, this is my music. Why are you taking it away? I don't shoot people. I don't do drugs.
Whole different world trying to navigate, you know, your kids and like, you know, what they get to be exposed to through phones. You know, like you said, back then it's like you had to go to FYE or Camelot or something to buy an actual CD.
Yeah. But like you ask about just concerts. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like the Taylor Swift tour.
That's good.
But like when we were younger, like late 90s, early 2000s, we would go to every hip hop show that we could.
Yeah, Detroit, you were probably, I mean, Pittsburgh kind of gets hit or miss if people come here.
Yeah.
But Detroit is
a lot of Eminem.
Yeah.
You always got, you know.
Yeah, we always get the big hip hop shows.
Big hero of Joe Long, Eminem.
Really? Okay.
Joe Long actually does some rap, and some of his rap is pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, he freestyles on TikTok every now and then. Like it's more sort of like poetry that he does, but you can see it's there.
Well, the stuff on TikTok, and we talk about it, it's silly, but like, you know, he has some real shit where he's like spitting some raw shit, and I'm like, damn, it's impressive.
The Yins version of like Best Show was the Wiz and Mac show when they were out at
Under the Influence.
Yeah, Star Lake or whatever you want to call it at that point. I don't know what that was called at that point.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah,
and that was a wild whole day. Yeah,
I bet it was.
That was because that was like probably 2010, 2011. Yeah. So that was when like Mac and Wiz were like
top of the world.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah, because 2008 or 9 was whenever kids came out on the radio, and then it started to catch on a little bit more.
So like after that, so that's like. I wouldn't say peak Mac and Wiz, but like that's whenever
they're on the up and up.
Yeah, it was just like, damn, Pittsburgh's got like some real artists here and everything. That was a sweet tour.
That was a fun show.
Funny thing about that tour is Kendrick Lamar opened up and there was like 500 people playing for him.
Really?
Dude, I remember we were walking through Star Lake with Bonix, like in one of those paths that, you know, that go out to the seats or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was literally, like Mike said, maybe 25 people in there at the time when Kendrick was performing.
I said 500, but you just took it down to 20.
Oh, you know what I mean. I didn't mean to over-exaggerate.
Kendrick ain't worrying now.
There weren't a lot of people there.
But I remember that's when it was like when swimming pools had just come out.
Oh, yeah.
So he was singing it. I'm like, oh, I know this song. Pull up. Drink.
Yep.
Shot. Drink. Wow. It's like, wow, I know a song from one of the opening artists.
Wild
and now
times.
It's like Kendrick Lamar, man.
Wild
yeah, that was a good.
for sure.
That was a good show.
Okay, that's good. Okay, third to last question is the death row meal. So the death row meal, you like that? Death row meal, you guys get an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. What's your favorite meal?
Main course. I mean, is this anything?
Anything you want. You can get as specific as you want or as broad as you want.
All right, main course. I'm going. My dad used to make this Mexican fried steak. It was like this flank steak,
Jeez.
And it was so crispy. And he'd fry it, and it was so good, man. I would love to have that Mexican steak.
Okay.
Yeah, so
my wife does a matzo ball soup, so I guess that'd be my appetizer.
Taking that too. I'm taking that for my appetizer too.
Okay.
And then I would probably go with some type of, I mean, it's so generic, but like a chicken parm or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Angel hair pasta, though.
I know. I'm an angel hair guy.
Hell
People
yeah.
are not
Really?
it. I love an angel hair
Hell
pasta. People like scoff at you. You're like angel hair.
I know.
But I don't know.
I don't feel like I have control of the angel hair pasta. Like it's too small and wispy.
I like the compactness.
The
of it.
compactness.
Spin it up and
The
okay.
texture. It's a texture thing.
I like, absolutely.
I'm a texture guy. I could eat a whole bag of shit if it's a good texture.
All right.
Now that makes sense. Okay, so what about desserts?
Dessert, man. Wow. Let's see. Oh man, what's that place called? Name's escaping me right now, so I'm just gonna go to a place that's not even open anymore because it tastes exactly like it. Do you remember when Bettis had the place on the North Shore right outside the stadium, right? Grill 36.
Yeah, they had the one-way mirror in there, or the two-way mirror. Scary.
And the
toilet.
In the
Yeah,
men's
you're
bathroom.
pissing,
He'd be
you're
like,
pissing.
"Can everybody watch me pee?"
And I'm like, this is a little bit strange.
Like, boss, we didn't need that. Like, what are we doing?
Why did they put that
I don't
in there?
know.
Two-way
It's
mirror in the
Such a
bathroom.
weird thing.
They had a carrot cake there.
Oh, okay.
That was.
Dude, it was size of the table. It was like strawberry. It was like the strawberry.
It was a huge piece of cake.
Wow.
And
size of a table.
man, I found there's this place on like Uber Eats or something. I wish I had the name. This sucks because I could give them some business. But they had something called like big ass carrot cake, and I'm like, I want that because I want to see if it's big like Bettis's carrot cake
And it was banging?
Dude, it was just like Bettis's carrot cake.
Wow.
It was amazing. I
Okay.
can't remember what the place was called because I only had it one time.
That's all right.
But I would have the Jerome Bettis carrot cake if I could
Okay.
have one dessert.
Yeah, I'm pretty basic. I'm just gonna go like a brownie or something, like nothing specific.
Yeah.
over.
That's
Cheesecake's good
understandable.
too. Cheesecake's good.
Cheesecake, honestly, cheesecake. So if you go appetizer, most chosen on here, cheese sticks. Most chosen main course is a steak and a potato, shit like that. And cheesecake is definitely the most chosen dessert, surprisingly enough. But those are good answers for sure.
I could destroy
Have you ever done yours?
cheesecake.
I mean, mine
Now
changes
we'll
a good
ask.
bit. Okay, just off the top of my head, the Tom Yum soup from Poussey's Garden, I could eat a bucket full of that.
My wife has wanted to go there for the longest time.
Man, it's really, really great. Are you like a picky eater or anything?
I'm not. No.
Yeah, I
neither
mean,
is she.
honestly-
do I look like nothing too
Listen, man.
nothing too spicy for me? But
Who
like
knows? Who knows?
nothing super spicy. But I'm not like allergic to or anything. or scared
Poussey's
to try
though
things.
is one of my favorites. Another great place that we have been recently is Fit Fisk over in Bloomfield. They're like a Nordic, but I would go for the appetizer, the Tom Yum soup from Poussey's. Main course would have to be just like a mountain of fresh chips and the caviar that they have there at Fit Fisk. It's like a creme fraiche with like trout caviar.
I've never had caviar in my life.
Honestly, people
I think on sushi I had it before.
people
but
get
does
like
that
a
count?
weird. People think
Is
that, it's going
caviar?
to be
No, it's fish eggs.
same thing. Roe caviar, same thing.
Same family.
It's really not bad. It's just like a little salty chip. I don't know why. I'm like dead set on that. Dessert is like you. Just like I'm into chocolate. I want like a fat chocolate, just like a brownie, some chocolate ice cream, sprinkles, things like that.
Oh, dude, you know who's got this? Now that I think about it, our buddy Troy Beck, who runs Given the Fly in Federal Galley, and his person Katie, they just started running Nothing Man in Bloomfield. Dude, you want to talk about good food, but dessert? Pistachio fluff dessert from that place and strawberry pretzel salad dessert. Those two right there, especially the pistachio fluff. But those two are like elite top tier desserts. But that pistachio fluff, whoo! Nothing Man in
How didn't
Bloomfield's real
pretzel
good.
salad jump in my head?
Yeah,
Pretzel salad's pretty like
That's a good
Yinzer
one, too.
staple. That's a good one.
That's a good one too.
I feel like that one's always good. You know,
I
like
blew
you
it.
can't.
Classic.
I blew it.
That's classic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip. You go into a gas station. You get to pick a snack of choice. What's your go-to?
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Yeah, yeah.
Classic.
Beef jerky.
That's
I only
good.
get one.
That's
You
good.
get to have
I'm a
both.
big
I'll
guy.
give you both.
I'm a
I'll
big
give you
guy.
both.
I feel like I'm going with road trip, right? So I feel like I might go with beef jerky.
Like
I think I'm
smoked
going
sausage
beef
sticks,
jerky.
though.
Yeah.
Like more than the beef jerky planks. Like
Yeah.
I'll take a sausage stick.
No, give me a bag of beef jerky. I like reaching my hand in there.
I like the links like teriyaki or
Yeah.
the sweet and
Yeah,
hot.
those
Hell yeah.
man. You
Those
start
are
getting
good.
into flavors
Hell
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
It's good
beef
stuff.
jerky's good.
That's good answers.
yeah, beef
Okay,
jerky.
last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why? Obvious choice, I'm sure, would be a loved one.
Yeah.
But if you could choose someone that is not, part of, your circle.
Ooh, man. Oh, dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Dead or
Who
alive.
do you want to talk to? Dead or alive? Oh man. I'm just gonna keep it like super Pittsburgh. I want to talk to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, that's
for
such a good
for
one.
real. Like I
Would love to.
don't think I've ever considered having a conversation with Mr. Rogers.
He passed before we got here.
Yeah.
Like he was, so we never got any encounter.
No event with him or anything. No,
Man.
Mr. McFeely.
McFeely we've seen all
McFeely's
over
a
the
dog,
place.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. McFeely's
my
a
dog.
man.
McFeely's
That's
our
my
dude.
dog.
McFeely's the dude, but like we never,
But a real conversation with like Mr. Rogers would be wild. Like,
Be epic.
man, I've never talked to like Sally Wiggin or anything to see if she's ever. I'm sure she has. Like she's run across Mr. Rogers over her years of being in Pittsburgh.
yeah,
Yeah,
of
have to
course,
be, right?
man.
Have to be.
yeah, all the news people.
That's
yeah.
a good answer, though. I mean, I feel like it's fitting. As you would expect, a lot of people that are on here, you know, I would say the most chosen person, surprisingly or not, is Anthony Bourdain, but Mr. Rogers is a big choice up there.
Yeah.
You know, you have a lot of people picking everything, but Mr. Rogers for sure. It's a good answer.
Yeah, I think when you talk about something like that, you just think of like, who would I want to like hear from? Who's got, you know, and I think they have enough life experiences where you can't just pick somebody where be like, oh, dude, man, you should see how cool the world is now. You know?
Like when you look back, Mr. Rogers' legacy too, like
crazy.
It wasn't just Pittsburgh. He
like
was
say
impactful
public
for.
broadcasting,
Yeah.
like children's shows, and
made it cool as hell to just be nice to people.
Yes.
And
Oh,
like still now he's been gone for how long, and like still people like
Still just as relevant today.
like the message probably even more so today than it was back then of just, you know, treat people with kindness and be nice to people. Yeah.
I think the coolest Mr. Rogers thing that I'll leave you guys on is he, you know how you would always like take you through his house in the show, and he would have his fish tank, and he was feeding the fish the one time, and he announced it. He was like, you know, I'm feeding the fish right now, and there was a little write up on the bottom of it, and he said that he had a listener that was blind, and she asked, you know, if you remembered to feed the fish, and he just always said it then, so he could, you know, let that
Convey
girl
the
know,
message. Yeah, that's
that,
awesome.
you know, he didn't forget about the fish.
That's
and I just like thought that was such like a, you know, just a small thing that's just like a thought to put in your mind.
So
like,
kind.
You're Mr. Rogers, you're doing TV every day, and just to like, you know, have that in your mind, just to like think about that, I feel like it just speaks to who that type of person was.
And it's just one person that he was doing it for. So, you know, just think no matter what you do for a job, what you do in your everyday life, be nice or treat that one person with respect. And next thing you know, you're Mr. Rogers, you know?
Hell yeah. Guys, I appreciate it more than you could know. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. Glad to have you in the studio.
appreciate you, man.
nice
Congrats
in
on
here,
all your
man.
success. Look at this.
You done
Appreciate
came
it.
up, man. You got your own place now here.
We're trying out here.
It's awesome. But we love watching your show and listen to it because, like, we don't like interview people on our show, really. Like, we'll have like, you know, Penguin or Steeler on every now and then, but like, you do a really good job of talking to people, and it's not an easy thing to be like conversational with people, and you know, like. You don't have a list. Everybody's got a list of questions. You just like talk to people, man. And
Like to talk to
You didn't
people.
even pick up your phone. We were just all off top. We were just
yeah, man.
all off top.
great, man.
No editing. I
We
won't have to cut
appreciate
too
you
much
having
down.
us, and you know, much success. And of course, if we can ever help you out or anything like that, you know, we got. Hey,
I know. I appreciate that.
we got you, man.
Appreciate
You've
that
been
for
riding
sure.
with us for a while now,
I
man.
know, long time. The freak show section picture just popped up because I think the first one we did was it was a Halloween it was the Halloween freak show section. That was crazy.
For sure.
Now give you a second to announce where people could come for Stuff a Bus. Where could people, you know, social media, the whole deal. Put it out there.
961kiss.com has all of your Stuff a Bus info. That's our website. But they're taking toys for the entire month of November down at the Terminal Strip District at the Putt Shack.
depending on when you listen to this.
Yeah. We'll be out there with Cam Hayward on Tuesday, November 19th in the afternoon, and then Stuff a Bus Monday, December 2nd through that Friday morning, December 6th. We end at 10 a.m. Robinson Town Center, Stuff a Bus, fill-in school buses for the Marines Toys for Tots program. Year 21, we'll cross over 800 school buses probably.
For the kids.
All
for the kids.
First couple days. So yeah, but everybody, if you want Stuff a Bus website, you want to know like how to get involved, you want to donate through the Pens Foundation. Like, we have way too much stuff going on at Stuff a Bus. It's a laundry list of things. So go find out what can benefit you, or you know, you want to come out, touch a truck night, stuff like that. Just go to our website. It's all up there, 961kiss.com.
Socials, FS Big Bob, FS Mikey on everything. So yeah,
People know how to use the internet.
Yeah.
Look up, look on the internet. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Everyone else that's listening, appreciate yins as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things in the city. Thank yous for listening. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll call you right back podcast.